Hey guys, Omni here. While I was out, we got a new trailer for Season 2 of Star Wars The Bad Batch. If you haven't seen my reactions to the first season, go check those out. I quite enjoyed what they did with this, especially with the amount of world building we got in this era that is just in absolute upheaval. Just seeing all the interesting ways that the Empire starts to transition these other planets and the colonies and the people into this new system, this new organization, this new leadership is just, it was really well handled, as well as the phasing out of the clones as we get that ball rolling and this crew tries to find their place in the world. And it was a lot of fun. Omega was a great character that they added into this whole story as well. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how they grow and expand upon this, especially considering where we left off with the season. So that said, guys, let's check out the first official trailer for Season 2 of Bad Batch. Here we go.
You can buy your freedom. You can have a future. Isn't that what you're after?
We're already free.
Clearly, you're not paying attention to what's happening out there.
It is time for a new era.
Dude.
There are others out there who need our help. We'll take all the allies we can get.
Yo!
Let's get to work.
Dude, hell yeah. This fall. All right. That was a fun little tease that we got for the upcoming season, man. Not a lot I can parse out as far as little details or the direction of the story, other than maybe them getting more involved and defending the oppression of the Empire as it sets out. We saw Sidious in here as well. Maybe he'll play a part into it, as you know, the rebellion starts to give rise to these outbursts across his web of rule. So I'm curious to see where they go from here, because obviously it's part of the Filoniverse, so it's going to really kind of reach out and grasp into some of the other things and build up to a lot of the things we've seen him kind of tackle and cover, maybe connect into some Rebels a little bit more, maybe kind of tie in to some setups we've seen pay off and show up in The Mandalorian here and there. Like, I'd love to see a little bit more of Fennec too as well, because she was a big part of the last season, kind of popping in and out, kind of giving us a little bit of her kind of moral standing overall. It was just a lot of fun, man. I really enjoyed these characters. When they showed up in Clone Wars Season 7, I wasn't too sold on them. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't too sold on them. And I also reacted to that, so check that out. But they really did a great job at rounding them out and building out this family, this dynamic between this group where they weren't like every other clone. They had their own rules. They had their own way of doing things. They had their own distinctive personalities, skill sets, traits, and they were a family. What I'm really curious to see how this continues on is what they do with Crosshair, and how they continue that story thread, considering the way we left that relationship at the end of the last season. Because he's really kind of left out to dry, betrayed by the Empire, but yet not willing to go along with his family for the things that he's done. Also, his own personal beliefs, they don't match up anymore. If they ever really did, and it wasn't more than the mission, though, he does care. He does care. There was a lot of that in that performance that really gave that away, but they definitely don't agree on everything, and it's set them on different paths. And I'm really curious to see how that relationship evolves, if it does. I love seeing just the leaps and bounds that Omega has taken as a character, as being part of the team herself, and just them, again, trying to find their place in this world that has determined that they don't really have a need for them. But there are people that do, and they're trying to find their way, find their place, find their purpose moving forward. And it was challenged. They were extended a lot of different avenues in the previous season. They were invited in by Rex and whatnot to come along for, his kind of involvement with the rebellion, with the sisters, the Martinez sisters, and them as well, kind of similarly. But they were very resistant to that whole idea because they weren't sure of themselves or where they fit in. But I feel like we'll probably gear in to get a little bit more synced up with what is mostly largely going on in the galaxy. But whether we do or we don't, the thing that I've really loved about the series, as I mentioned, is the world building, because we get a new set of eyes that we get to see all these different ways that the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire has changed the galaxy. We get to see these subtle ways that this new control and regime really gets its clutches into everything. And I loved that. From the way we saw the conscriptions with the human soldiers being brought in to take over in place of the clones, from the way they implemented like the blockchain system on keeping track of everybody, registering all the ships, how we saw that happening, why that became relevant in The Mandalorian, for him to have a pre-Empire ship to make sure that didn't have any of that tracking involved in it. Lots of these subtle little beats throughout the season that just really fleshed out the Star Wars world in a lot more, shed a lot more light on the workings of the galaxy, and I really enjoyed that quite a bit, and I hope for more of that. I've become quite endeared to these characters after that kind of schlocky intro that they had, I think, in the Clone Wars. Not in a bad way. It's just that we didn't get a lot of time to get to know them as closely as I would have liked at that time, because we were focused on more important things at the time, closing off a lot of those story threads. Well, now they're able to evolve on their own, as they are now the focus of their own show. And I'll be honest, I really did enjoy the first season of The Bad Batch. Like, there was rarely an episode that I didn't find some enjoyment of. There was only one episode, I think, in the season that I really didn't jive with. But I think out of the entirety of that season, that is barely a hiccup in the grand scheme of things. But that's my opinion. I know a lot of people were pretty mixed on it, so I'm curious to see how this does. I'm glad we got a season 2 where we're continuing that story. So what are you guys looking forward to? What are your hopes, your theories, your speculations? Sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Feel free to join us in our Discord. We can talk about it there as well. I will be reacting to this when it comes out, so keep an eye out for those. Subscribe if you're not already. And yeah, man, before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Manny Sherritt, Ryan, Karen, Jason Coleman, Philly Vane, Yori, Corey Scott, Margaret Grace, Mary Bradley, Melita, and Robert Anguiano. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. But that's it for this one, guys. May the Force be with you always. Take care, everybody.